Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to our live stream today. We hope you're having a great Thursday and that you're keeping safe and well wherever you're tuning in from. I'm Jia Xing from the Google Developer Relations team, and welcome to our 10th edition of Startup Coffee Chat at Google Developer Space. And we are super excited because it's the first one for 2022. And for those of you who are joining us for the first few time, Startup Coffee Chat is a monthly event to bring startups from across Southeast Asia to share best practices and to learn from one another. And for today, our topic is on engineering leadership. We are super excited to have Elvira Simanjaya here with us today, and she's the head of engineering of Tokopedia. She oversees the software development engineers in test, QA engineers, and software engineers in Tokopedia's engineering productivity team. She has experienced the transition from being a junior engineer to a managerial position throughout her career, and she's also a seasoned speaker at many conferences and events where she often shares her knowledge with others. Tokopedia is an Indonesian tech company with the mission to democratize commerce through technology through its C2C platform for buyers and merchants. And thanks a lot if you have submitted your questions through registration. You're also welcome to submit your questions to us through YouTube or Facebook live chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. So for today, the format of the session, Elvira will be kicking it off with a keynote presentation, and we will move on to Q&A afterwards. So without further ado, let's invite Elvira up to the virtual stage.
Hi, everyone. Thanks,
Hi,
Google, for
Elvira.
having me. Yeah, so since this is a startup coffee chat, hope you guys have your coffee ready because I have some high-level things to share with you. And also thanks for the questions you guys have shared with me. So without further ado, Justin, can we start?
Yep.
Okay. So today I'm gonna be sharing a little bit of my journey that hopefully you guys can learn and take something out of it after this session. So before I start, let me introduce a little bit about Tokopedia. So Jasin has touched about it a little bit, but we want to share a little bit about our vision and mission. So Tokopedia vision is to build a super ecosystem where anyone can start and discover anything. That's why our tagline in Bahasa is mulai aja dulu and selalu ada, selalu bisa. And the mission is to democratize and empower commerce through technology for everyone, everywhere. And here's some glimpse of our 12 years journey. Started in 2009 in a small Soho as a C2C marketplace business. And we get our fundings, we get our awards, and acquired Bright Story and Parent Story. And fast forward to 2021, Tokopedia and Gojek have united to become GoTo, to be the go-to ecosystem for daily life, combining e-commerce, on-demand, and financial services. So some numbers for you here. We had 6,000 plus nakama. So nakama is how we called our team. So if there are nakama today is watching this, hi nakama. And in our platform, we already have 11 million plus merchants with 550 million plus products. And out of these, 86.5% are first-time entrepreneurs. And we have reached 99% of districts in Indonesia. And our businesses ranging from marketplace and digital goods, fintech and payment, logistic and fulfillment, and Mitra Tokopedia, which enables small merchants to sell digital goods and keep their offline store. And that's a little bit about Tokopedia. And going on to the next topic here, which is my leadership, or I will say my growth journey I want to share with you, and hopefully you can learn something about this. So obviously these pictures you are seeing now is pre-pandemic pictures where we can actually gather within a close proximity. So these are pictures from our external workshops, and we did also workshops for other people to join in our office, my interns, my teammates, my leaders, and other nakamas from other function. So in a nutshell, this is my journey starting from an associate to where I am today. So in 2012, I graduated from with a title of Bachelor of Information Technology in age of 19. So I can say that I started school earlier. Hence, in 2012, I got the job as an associate engineer in Kuala Lumpur. So what we did back then is banking applications um, for walk-in customers, so that we actually did went to the clients ourselves to deploy our applications. We did mass UATs with them, and even being an associate, we already have to train our users and be very close with them, because we have to demo our applications and be there to support if there's any issues. So that's I spent 4 years in the job, and um, basically there's a time where we got an Indonesian client, hence naturally they need an Indonesian member to be to bridge the communication. So naturally I was placed for that project. So there was a time where I go back and forth, Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta. And when I I was back in Jakarta, I feel like the urge to go back is getting stronger. So yeah, because I spent a lot of time as well in Kuala Lumpur because I studied there. So also I want to get closer to my family. That's why, like any other sane person, right? Before I resigned, I did a job search, and I was able to interview with some technology company as well. And finally, I took the offer with Tokopedia, just because I was very amazed with how a local company is getting noticed by international eyes, and there is a pride in there, right? And then I was very on board with the vision and mission. Being from a small town girl myself, back in my childhood, I maybe visited Jakarta, our capital city, maybe just every once every year. So whenever I visited Jakarta, I feel like, oh, this is a very high. I see highways in an awe, and then I see a very tall buildings, things like that. So it's like a I'm very on board with the vision and mission. So I joined as an associate, and there my journey goes. And in 2018, I will say that is a life-changing year, and in a bit you will see why. I will share with you until the present. So here I want to talk about how my perspective and my priorities change, starting from an associate to where I am today. So I spent almost 5 years, right, being an associate. So at that time, as an associate, I just do my own thing. I have a lead that assign me tasks. I just want to finish my task as best as I could and then move on to the next one. Just focus on completing the task given. But I made mistakes and have no mitigation plan whatsoever. So I can also share with you a little bit about my mistakes. Um, Maybe engineers can relate, but I did drop a table before. Thankfully, it's not in production. It's in a UAT, but still, being an associate, that was a super hard attack. That moment, I wish I didn't didn't repeat it again. Thankfully, they have a backup, so I'm not, yeah. So that was my mistake, and um, things like this happen, right? And another story is after we deployed our applications to the production, everything was fine before, but the application went panic in production. Hence, but after the deployment, we just went by in our days. We didn't realize it because of one changes in one payment method. Um, make the whole payment page go down, so nobody can pay at that time. And we just like, that is a big lesson for us. We started to do checklists and whatnot to make mitigation plans in the future. So things like this happen, but you just have to have mitigation plan in the future, right? So in 2017, I was a senior, and I was very selfish at that time. So I feel like I must be the role model because I'm better than these associates, right? That's why he promoted me as a senior. But I was very happy with. I enjoyed that kind of additional responsibility because I can be a thought partner for my lead, and I just meet more people because of that additional responsibility. So that was a quite fun time for me. And in 2018, I told you before that this is a life-changing year for me. There will be two parts of it: the first half of 2018 and then the second half of 2018. So the first half of 2018, I became a lead, and I have a team of 4 people. So I need to ensure my 3 other team members are performing well within their scope. And I was also half doing individual contributor task because I have my own tasks beyond caring for the other 3 team members, right? So here I learned to be responsible for others' result as well, and for their growth as well. And do you know that all this time on my career journey, I always have different leads, just because things happened. And yeah, I feel like because I had different people leading, but I'm always in this on the same team, which is payment team. So I feel confident, right? I know most of the people. I have been doing this for years. I know in and out of the system. I feel confident. But things happened in the second half of 2018. So um, in Toko, right, at that year, we are just maturing. The career ladder for engineering are just maturing. So what Toko did for people that seems potential for the next career path, and has is ready actually and already performing in the next career path, uh, they challenge them, right, to be on the next level. So at the same time, there was a company team structure pivot. So I was totally uncomfortable. I was out of my comfort zone. I have to naturally learn and relearn things. And yeah, so uh, within that company team structure pivot, I was one of the people that was trusted to drive the change positively throughout the entire organization. And at first, I didn't even buy into the idea. I was actually resistant at that time. But I feel like, okay, if they chose me, then I have to return the favor by honoring the trust, right? This is a challenge. This is an opportunity to be to go to the next level. I say take it, right? Take it and make sure that the decision was not wrong. So I went from leading 3 people in one team to become leading 4 other leads in 4 other teams. So it multiplies really quickly before I knew it. So they didn't know me that well, and I also didn't really talk to them in a day-to-day basis just because that time we are also getting bigger. So how do I win the trust from them? So I just talk to each one of them. I set up a short, mid, and long-term plan to adjust with the change, but keep them motivated and keep them positive. And we went out also to create our external brandings and workshops to attract next level talents, because us today will have to be better than us yesterday, right? So the proactiveness is was really there to reach out to the other key people that I feel like I need to talk to and listen to their feedbacks and contribution, and how can we help, and how can we, sail through these changes. Other people feedbacks really matters too. And you know when you were in a challenged position, right, you were already invited to some of the meetings that you have never stepped in before, meaning that you will see another league of people, so more senior leaderships in those kind of meetings. And when I was in that meeting, I just become a sponge, I just absorb everything. I watch and learn, I watch how people agreed and disagreed, and how they deliver their message, key message and goals, and see how people kind of how's people personality basically. So I know that, oh, I want to be like him or her, or oh, this kind of personality I need to tone down, things like that. And um, usually in some meetings I was given the opportunity to present also, or to speak, so there I can practice my communication and negotiation skill. And yeah, so it happens that way. And finally, in 2019, um, I learned that um, I have to scale and replicate. Because do you know that the most junior person in your team with the most senior person in your team, they're all humans, right? They all have the same 24 hours, 7 days a week to go by their days. So how do you keep track with all of this, right? With all the, multipliers. So you have to learn the art of letting go. Being an individual contributor for most of the my career, right? It's quite hard of letting go, because sometimes you might think that, okay, it's faster if I do it myself rather than I have to teach the others, because they might not have all the context. Um, that might work in a short term, but in the long term, it will actually burn you out. And you don't want it to happen, because you want to be in this position for a long time, right? So usually, how do I do this? Is I do this method called lead by example. So in a lot of discussions or in meetings, I bring my N minus one. So I show them how to do it. And then on the next time, I let them to run the show. So uh, I am not involved unless they have blockers or things that they don't know how to solve, then they can come to me. No problem, right? That's why it's really important to prepare for your N minus one, to back up and to fill in your shoes. So next time when a higher opportunity comes in your way, you make sure that the show still runs, right? You have your N minus one ready to replace you at any time. But how do you make sure that your N minus one is actually performing to your expectations? I found skip level meetings and 360 feedbacks are super helpful. Skip level meetings is you talk to your N minus one, N minus one, right? Say for example, my N minus one name is Jimin lah, for example. Yeah, Jimin. You have to tell Jimin that Jimin, I'm gonna conduct skip level meetings, and I'm gonna tell you the results, the summary, what have you done well, and what are your improvement points. And don't make these skip level meetings a secret or a surprise from Jimin, right? Um, but I wouldn't tell who give what feedback. So what matters is just the summary or the bullet points. And 360 feedbacks is something that we also do. So Jimin can nominate um, his raters, 360 feedback raters, but the direct lead can also add more raters from people that the lead thinks that they need to hear from. So you have the holistic view of your n minus one performance, and sometimes that's just the way you get most holistic feedbacks, because you cannot be with Jimin every day, every time, right? So with this one, I feel like I have a flaw, which is I still want my team to be the best team. That was a selfish thought, and as I go further in my career, I feel like now it's not what's best for my team; it's what's best for the company, right? Because a team is like a car, a car. They have parts where it makes a car to can walk, right? You have the steering wheel, you have the engines, you have the doors, and um depends on the severity of these parts, right? If one part breaks down, the whole car will still be slowing down. So that's kind of the idea of this, right? So I started to think, how can I help others to be successful too? Um, Sometimes in a team, right, there were people who actually can go beyond what they are doing right now, but they didn't do it, or maybe they don't need to, because there is a lead on top of them. So if we see like this, there is actually internal job transfers, and people can transfer job um, within the tech team, but just a different business units, let's say, or people can transfer jobs to the other functions. And when you see a potential person like this, you deploy them to the other area that needs help, and let these qualities replicate to the other place as well. So this is how we replicate ourselves, yeah, and do the best for the company. And the second thing is dare to challenge the team because you care, right? I was a product of a challenge too, and if somebody didn't challenge me, I might not be speaking with you guys today. I might still be doing whatever I was doing a few years ago, right? Challenge the team because you care, right? And also, um, if people didn't meet your expectations, you have to be able to give candid feedback right away, not in public, but in one-on-ones right away. Because if you keep tolerating this mediocrity, you keep, um, you know, not challenging the person to be better, um, it will go down the bad way. Trust me. And maybe the most important part is also don't limit your learnings just inside the company. Um, I have books from global leaders that I read. I enjoy reading. I join talks and trainings by other companies. I find mentor, not like an official mentor, but anyone that I feel like I admire that person. I follow them, and they can give a value addition for me, new insights for me, so that you just broaden your perspective, and you have an open mind, right? Sometimes your solutions might be the best just for you, but when you add in all this additional perspective, you might be more mature in your perspective. I talk about perspective a lot because that's the keyword that really rings true during my journey. And obviously, find and nurture more engineering talents to join our mission. So Indonesia has a lot of tech companies right now. So we need more engineering talents to realize the mission. And Tokopedia has been doing this with Tokopedia Academy. So this is one of the effort for Indonesia's future digital talent. And I want to share a sneak peek about Tokopedia Academy. So let's see this video a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so there's a sneak peek from Tokopedia Academy. So you can visit academy.tokopedia.com for more information. So with that, here are some key takeaways that I can share to start your engineering leadership journey. The first is on board with company's vision and love the products. Let's just be real, right? Things will be easier if you love the product, if you believe on the company mission and vision, so that every time you come to work, it feels like you are contributing something back to the society. And my husband, my families, my relative, they did use the product, so sometimes I'm kind of like half customer service for them, but that's fine. We're happy to listen to our users feedback and take it to our roadmap. And then the second one is honor trust from leaders, right? If you are given an opportunity, you take it, right? And if you fail, that's not the end of the world. And but if you succeed, you can say that it will be the best decision that your leader had ever made. So honor the trust, work with integrity. And the third one is watch and learn. The easiest way to start your engineering leadership journey is to copycat first. I'm sure you have teachers, you have a boss, you have a leaders that you admire, and you like to be treated that way by them, and you admire some of their qualities. So you can try to copy first what they did, because over the time, the kind of conflicts or problems will start being repetitive, so you can also take example from them how they actually solve or make decisions, right? And the fourth one is to be proactive, because if you didn't be proactive, you might be slower to reach where you want to go. So be proactive, go out your way, go beyond call of duty, talk to the other functions, and along the time you will get some more insights from them, and then you might finally um, you know took the pieces of the puzzles and put it in your solutions, right? And the last one is scale and replicate. Just because you are one person, you cannot be in every single meeting. You cannot master every single tech stacks. You know, um, obviously for me, when I did my uni in 2009, we didn't get the cloud we didn't get the cloud lesson, but obviously our microservices now lives in cloud. So, scale and replicate, and never stop learning. And with that, please give my presentation a 5-star review. So thank you so much. This is my short sharing. Hopefully it inspires you. And back to MC.
Thanks, Elvira. Loved your presentation so much. Let me just remove it from the screen. Yeah, I think it was really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing throughout the years, like all the challenges or the growth opportunities that you faced and how you responded. So I think we have, let's go through a question that was submitted from our audience. So Nanda Reynaldi, I hope I pronounced your name right. So he asked, how do you change your mindset from being an IC to mid manager? You need to manage your people, and on the other hand, you still need to keep your technical abilities by doing icing role occasionally.
Yeah, thank you, Nanda, for the question. Mindset is just, if you love seeing other people be successful, and I think you got it right. And also, you don't have to master all of the tech stacks needed. That's why your team are there, right? At least in Toko, right, we have EMs for back end engineer, we have EMs for front end engineer, and we have EMs for productivity engineer. There are these so-called experts, right, in their own expertise. So we can always reach out to them and consult with them if needed. And I think sometimes you have to love it, if not, then you don't really do it in your spare time as well, learning all these technologies, right? If that is your calling, just do it. But if, let's say, managing people is not really your thing, that's fine too. We have an individual contributor path, I think, where people can excel, right? Because over the time, right, maybe when you were in a kindergarten, right, you want to be a teacher or an astronaut or a doctor, right? But how many of you still have the same dream now? Now maybe you just want to be the founder of a startup, right? So these things change, just based on the stage of life and the environment we are. So don't take it too hard, just enjoy the ride, and things will go your way, and you will see. And it's okay to pivot anytime where you are comfortable.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the advice, Nanda. We hope that helped you. And we also have a lot of pre-submitted questions. So let's go through some of them. I think related to what Nanda was asking about the skills to become a manager. So for the first one, we have, what are some skill sets that will be beneficial for someone as a leader in tech?
Yeah, you're welcome, Nanda. So obviously, domain expertise in one of the major tech stack your company is using, right? And but for us, it's more to the soft skill, basically. So the communication, leadership, and negotiation skills, because you have to be comfortable sailing in conflict sometimes, just because you cannot please everybody with your decisions. There are always pros and cons and things like these. So I feel like, yeah, these qualities are what we're looking for in a person. And for Toko, the best person might not be the right person, but the right person will be the best person.
Wow, such a quotable quote. What do you mean by the best person may not be the right person?
Yeah, you have people who are very good in what they do, but let's say if they cannot work with others, or the harmony of the team can be disrupted. We also prefer people who embodies our 3 DNAs, which is growth mindset, focus on consumer, and make it happen, make it better. So we look for these qualities in selecting our nakamas. So yeah, that's what I can share.
Nice. Thanks a lot. And the next one we have is for current software engineers in startups. So, if they are looking to become tech leads, what advice do you have for them?
Sorry, what was the question again?
So, for current software engineers in startups looking to become tech leads, what are some advice you would share?
I would say, um, don't go for the title, right? Go
Mm,
for the kind of impact or what values you can bring to the team. Um, you have to make sure, right, when you were selected for something, the trust is there, right? Trust is a very big currency for us. Um, so when you were tasked something, uh, your leader knows that he or she doesn't have to keep following up with you. There is a sense of relief that you are the one who is in charge. Things like this will make you go a long way. So again, the trust and how your track record speaks is really really important.
mm. I think earlier in your presentation, you also mentioned that being proactive is one of the key qualities that really helped you throughout the years. What are some advice you would have for people, like practical tips on being proactive?
Um, in Indonesia, in Bahasa, maybe in Singapore, there is also one word called kepo.
Yeah.
So just be kepo, you want to know more, you ask why things have to be this way, why things have to be that way. So when people actually explains to you, you kind of start collecting all these different pieces, right? And you
Mm,
finally understand why some decisions are made, why some decisions are dropped, so. And I will say, at least for me, things happen
mm,
along the way. So there is no like formula on how you have to do things this way or that way. It has to come naturally from yourself. Do you kepo enough about things? Do you want to improve yourself?
mm,
Do you do you understand the business? Do you understand the product? Right? So I think, just find the drive in yourself and just go out your way and do it.
mm. Wow, that's really great advice. Oh, yeah, I think we also have a couple of questions that are coming in. So maybe let's go through one from Charlie at Win. Charlie asked, how do you improve your hard or tech skill while improving your soft skill, managing a team and managing managers?
Actually, right, being an engineering leader, you still have to have the nuances about the technology that people are using. So I usually, just because I didn't get taught the new technologies at school, so I have to go out my way and just learn by myself. These days, a lot of platforms are already available to you in a very simple and attractive content possible to learn, right? There are a lot of certifications online you can get. A lot of famous schools even offer free courses. And obviously, after the pandemic, everything kind of shift online, and it's easier than ever now to study anything you want. You don't have to, get up, get ready, and go spend the time to commute to go somewhere. Everything is online. And for managing team itself, I learned a lot from my other leaders. So like I said before, I kind of copycat first what I admire from the other
Mm,
person, right? And then I feel like, doesn't mean I 100% agree with that person. I filter and kind of make it my flavor. I
mm,
take the good qualities from that person, and then I make my flavor. And I'm not so serious all the time as well, right? I kind of insert some jokes, in the meeting, so just to break the ice. And
mhm,
I like to care personally for my team, so I actually get to know them one by one. Maybe it's not possible now, but at least back then I did not just talk to my N minus one. I actually talked to all of even my interns, right? So
Wow.
yeah, I ask them for lunch. That way I know what's happening with their life and how is their motivation level. So that's very important. Now I
Mm,
think to do it a scalable way, we actually do a health check survey every quarter, for at least for my team, to know are they still happy, what kind of inputs they might have for us, right?
mm,
uh, yeah, unfortunately I cannot do one by one now because the people are so many. But
mhm,
you have to find these kind of reusable templates or a repetitiveness and the rhythm so people know you
mm,
care.
mm. Yeah, and for hard or tech skill, I guess Tokopedia Academy is a great way if you're looking to upskill your skills. Um, yeah, and thanks a lot for sharing that, Elvira. So I think maybe we can also go on to a next question about, let's say someone is a software engineer is in a startup, and like how was it like for you to decide between a people leadership path versus a technical leadership path? How would someone like maybe for you, and any advice you have for someone who is deciding which path may be more suitable?
I think this question you can only answer by yourself. So at least think about it. For people managerial path, right? Do you enjoy seeing other people be successful? Do you feel the joy when you see the team is successful? And are you ready to be accountable for their results? Are you ready to be their shield? That's the thing that you have to be ready for. But if you are more interested in how can I create the most optimized, cleanest, most scalable architecture ever, the best application ever, then you might want to go to the IC path. um, yeah, sometimes people just underestimated the kind of emotional intelligence needed in the people management path.
Mm,
So just be ready for that. Yeah, if you really
mm,
choose to be the people manager.
yeah. Yeah, I think many times people see the next step as being a manager. But earlier, you also sharing that in Tokopedia, there's an IC track. Yeah, so it doesn't mean that just because you want to progress, you have to go to the managerial route.
Yeah, in Toko we have a VP council, and then we have a architect office. So up until senior, you have two branch, so you can go managerial or you can go to IC path.
Mm. Yeah, and in your presentation, you also there was a slide that shared like from 2016 till 2022, all the positions that you had, and it was really interesting to me because I think every year you got promoted or got more responsibilities. So, what did you do maybe when you were a junior till now to how you got promoted?
Uh, yeah, honestly, I also don't know why. Like if you ask me, I didn't know. Um, but every time I was trusted to do beyond what I did today, I want to make sure I again honor the trust, right? I want to make sure I am up to the expectations, that I deserve this before I actually ready to go to the next level. That's why I think Toko formulate this with the challenge period. So to see whether people are actually ready and consistent for the next level.
Mm,
And maybe I just like challenges. I don't know, right? I feel like okay, if I got a challenge, what's the worst that can happen, right? Just do it, and then if I failed, there's always next time, and don't discount yourself. But believe me, right? Every time I leave a meeting with full of senior leadership, I always think about did I say something stupid? So like I still have that kind of thoughts, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, if I really said something really stupid, most probably people will tell me, right? People will give feedback to me. So just you have to show up again tomorrow anyway. So don't think too much, right? So just do it. And I think it helps as well to be in a supportive culture.
Mm.
It is a privilege, and I am thankful for that. um, People are always very helpful. We actually go out our way to help one another. So if you're not an expert on this, some expert will come to help you. I
Mm.
literally go out my way. I created the group just to ask for help, you know. So things like this. And again, honor the trust. Don't waste this opportunity. That's what I can tell.
You mentioned about the being a challenge manager, right? Is that something common? Like, I would like, is that some sort of probation period for you to try out and then decide whether you want to take on the role? How long is it usually? Yeah, can you share a bit more about that?
It can range from 6 months to 1 year.
Mm.
I don't have the definitive year, but make sure that because you're in a challenge period, just meaning that you have to do something extra before compared to the previous responsibility. But you have to
Mm.
remember also that the bar is just getting higher and higher um, compared to the previous year. So if you don't push yourself, then yeah, you might not be successful on the challenge. So also talk to the people which has been in a same position before. I find it
Mm.
very helpful because then they can kind of give some advice on how is it like being in the next level, what kind of things, the do's and don'ts. uh, just talk to the people, just talk to your leaders, and I think it's super helpful.
Nice. That's really useful. We also have a question from Lawrence. That is, what is the difference between leading a team of associate engineers compared to a team of team leads?
The difference is with their perspective and their maturity. So associates usually expects, I cannot say this for everybody, yeah, but at least my personal experience, associates then they expected to be shared tasks already. So let's say we have an idea to push. So usually all the leaders will strategize first what's the best approach, and then break it down to a little smaller task, and
Mm.
then these associates are already expecting what they have to do. But for a team of leads, they also have their ideas, right? They also are responsible for their associates.
Mm.
So you have to be able to give some portion of your responsibility to them, so that you can think uh, to the next level. Yeah. So you can do the other things on the next level. That's about it. And if the team is growing bigger and bigger, obviously you cannot have time to go to the associates every day one by one. So you have to mentor the leads to be the next you. Scale and replicate, right? Back again to the presentation, scale and replicate. I think that's my answer.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's also really useful from the other point of view. So you shared that associates usually do the task and then leaders are the ones who strategize. So yeah, on the other hand, if someone is an associate now, yeah, it's really useful, get involved, understand the why behind why certain decisions are made. Yeah, so that it also helps you to move on to the next level. And yeah, so I think we have covered a couple of questions about becoming an engineering manager. So now we also want to move on to like the Tokopedia team. So like you have been in the team for a couple of years now. What are some maybe challenges that you have encountered while you have been leading the team in Tokopedia?
Yeah, it's always challenging to tell that a person is not meeting the expectations. Um, it
Mm.
requires an art and an immediate action items, because chances are if these has come to your attention, chances are the team has been tolerating or dealing with this way longer than you. So
Mm.
it's very hard to have that kind of conversation, but it still needs to be done, right? um yeah, I feel that this is a very challenging times, but point out exactly where they were not meeting expectations and um, strategize the plan on what to do next. So hopefully they can meet the plans that we have made,
Mm.
and hopefully they can improve.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree on that. And I think the next one is a pretty interesting question that we have. So, as you know, the pandemic has really changed everybody's life. So, how has your leadership style changed since the pandemic? And what do you think are some things that managers can do to keep their team motivated?
Yeah. So the pandemic really hits hard. I remember back then, March 2020 is the first lockdown ever for us, and in just a matter of days, right? Kudos to our IT enterprise team. All nakamas, thousands of nakamas are able to work from home already. So all the
Oh.
machines are set to work from home, and immediately personality wise, I think nothing much changed from me, but the sync ups, I immediately set up online sync ups, right?
Mm.
Just so to establish that kind of rhythms and to see them more often,
Mm.
and didn't lose that kind of communication, um, although we're not seeing each other in person. And I think a lot of support was coming also from Tokopedia people team, basically to give extra benefits and allowance even for the families of nakamas who are impacted by COVID. So
Mm.
that's always very very helpful as well. And we shifted even our war room for our campaigns and TV shows online, which we didn't think is possible before, and
Oh.
that's just crazy. But we managed to do it. We delivered more than 20 TV shows already in the past years. So funny, right? When things have to change, people do really adapt. Even my parents are using more technology right now. uh, so and I just want to remind the team as well. I reminded them that we can work from home. It is a privilege, so don't take it for granted.
Mm.
Use it and keep the accountability there. Just because we can work from home, right? We have less exposure of the virus, and we sometimes can have our morning routine. It was not possible before just because of the commute and everything. So don't take this privilege for granted and use it wisely.
Mm. Yeah, I think we are really fortunate, especially in the tech industry, that most of our work can still be done without traveling to office. Um, yeah, I think we also have, let's answer some of the questions that have been coming in from our comments. So there's one by Shafiq. Hey Shafiq, nice to see you here again. So I think he's in a startup now, so maybe he's asking this for himself. Yeah, if you are the only engineer in a specific division, do you think it affects the technical or personal growth of an individual?
Well, I cannot speak for myself, just because I haven't been in that
Mm,
situation where I'm the only specialized engineer. Um, but for me, at least, it really helps to have a comrade, at least, yeah,
mm,
so that I can have a thought partner and discussion friend. That sometimes I'm not really 100% sure that what I do is right. So sometimes it's really helpful to have a discussion partners, right? And when there is no one to discuss with, you will feel like, I can have to, I just have to look on the internet, right? Yeah. So I think it will affect in a certain level, because you did not practice your selling your ideas, communicate your approach, right? I think it will affect.
mm,
So it may be, your growth might be slower per se, but I'm not sure if it works for you. That's good. But if it you feel struggles with it, it might be the time you find a partner.
mm. Yeah, and speaking of like finding a partner or mentor, Charlie asked, do you have a mentor outside the company? How do you find them? Are you open to being a mentor for others? I think you briefly mentioned about this earlier in your presentation as well.
Um, Everyone I admire, I think of them as a mentor. So I have a colleague,
Mm,
ex-colleague, right? Now he's already in another company, and he came from such a mature, experienced company that I consider him not just a mentor but also as a friend. So that's very awesome. Yeah, I do have, but I didn't like talk in a daily basis with him. It's just sometimes that if I need help, I he's just one message away, right? So I can message him. And are you open to being a mentor for the other? Of course. Of course. Just hit me up on LinkedIn, and we can talk there.
yeah, yeah, Charlie, go and search for Elvira on LinkedIn. That's actually also how I found her to speak at today's session. So yeah,
Yeah,
thanks a
LinkedIn is a
lot.
magical place. LinkedIn is a magical place. I got approached by Jessit via LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think one last question, and then we can wrap up the session. I think time really flew by really quickly. This is also, I guess, linked to LinkedIn. So yeah, fresh graduates, people who are graduating soon, what should they do to stand out when they are applying for technical jobs?
Hmm. Um, Definitely some freelance projects, internships, or some certifications in the skill sets that for the job that you're applying for. For example, you're applying for data engineering, so make sure you have those kind of experience beforehand, so that uh, school and work is very different, guys. uh, mm, it's it's
Mm,
might not, all the lessons might not be applicable to the real life, to the work. So it's very helpful if you already have those kind of um, profile in your LinkedIn, again LinkedIn, yeah. And I think also don't hesitate to ask for recommendations from colleagues to spice up your LinkedIn profile, so people can get to know you better in a personal level. I think that's how you stand out from the others.
Yeah, so having relevant experience doing projects outside of just your school is really going to help you stand out. Yeah, I think we have come to the end of the session. Thank you so much, Elvira. I guess maybe a last question that we have, since this is the start of the year, right? What like if people are trying to set goals for themselves for their career, yeah, what would you advise them to set a goal for, or even for yourself? Like, do you have any goals that you have set out for this year?
um for long term, not really, but for short term, I do have some projects that I want to finish. So, but I recommend you to read the book Atomic Habits I haven't finished reading it, but Atomic Habit can really help you improve 37.78 better in everything. So if you
Oh.
are setting out a goal, usually New Year, New Me, right? They said, uh, but it is more towards the repetitive and habit building, not going for the long shot. So read the book, and hopefully it can inspire you to be a better to build a better habit every day.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think Wong So also asked what kind of books do you enjoy reading to improve your skills in engineering leadership. So I guess Atomic Habits would be one book that you recommend. Yeah, are there any other books that you would recommend as well?
Of course, I really like the book How Google Works. Look it up. Very good,
Oh,
very
I
good
love
book.
that book as well. Thanks
And
for sharing that.
I'm also reading Radical Candor by Kim Scott. Haven't finished it, but try to read it. Very good. Will open up your mindset a lot.
Okay, so yeah, a couple of books there: Atomic Habits, How Google Works, and Radical Candor. And I think we've come to the end of the session. Thanks a lot again, Elvira, for sharing your insights. I hope everybody tuning in managed to take away tons of takeaways. And yeah, feel free to reach out to Elvira via LinkedIn. Yeah, for her to mentor or to share her knowledge with you as well.
So much fun. Thank you so much for having me, Google.
Thank you, Elvira. And if you'd like to rewatch this session, you can always check it out on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. And we regularly host events with many developer and startup communities in the region. So do subscribe and follow us on our social channels to keep updated. And lastly, we value your feedback. Do let us know what you think about today's session by filling up the form. And we'll also be sending out swags to some of you who are selected. So until then, stay tuned for our upcoming events on our website and social channels, and we'll see you again next month.